وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مِّن مُّصِيبَةٍ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَيَعْفُو عَن كَثِيرٍ. Whatever calamity befalls you, then it is because of what your hands have earned, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pardons and forgives very much.
You live in a land that is the source of these ideologies, where they are teaching your children in school about democracy, and they are teaching your children in school about moral relativism, saying that really we can't identify right and wrong. Everybody has their own idea of what is right and what is wrong, and everybody has their own religion, and we have to accept everybody and tolerate everybody for the way that they are to the end of it. And your children grow up with tamyir. Your children, they grow up with tamyir, and you don't do anything. You don't do anything to protect them from it, because perhaps you are unaware of it. Perhaps you don't recognize it. Perhaps you don't care about what they are coming home with and what they are learning in school and what they are spending their time doing after school. Perhaps the school is raising them in the day and the television is raising them in the night, and then they hit an age where they go out into the streets, where they come home pregnant by a kafir boy, and you wonder what happened in your tarbiyah. What tarbiyah? What tarbiyah was there? They were raised by video games. They were raised by the kuffar. They were raised by the television, which is another tool of the kuffar. It is known historically that there has not been a more powerful tool. There has not been a more powerful tool of indoctrination and brainwashing than the television set. It is built by scientists, by mad, majnoon, kafir scientists who actually programmed it to coincide with the brainwaves in the mind of a human being, to literally hypnotize a person with flashing lights and sounds and so on and so forth. And the people have become zombies. And the children have become zombies. And the people sit around and they don't talk to each other. A family, they sit, and the mushaf is on top of the TV. And Sahih Bukhari is next to the TV. And they sit with their food watching TV. And they're out of the home all day. And they don't know their children, and their children don't know them. But what they do know about is the first string of the Philadelphia Eagles. And they know the name of the basketball players. And they know the names of the musicians. And you let your child have a phone because you trust them. And unlimited access to the internet because you trust them. And you gave them electronic devices. And they're walking around with headphones on their head because they're listening to the Quran, right? They just want to listen to Quran all day. That's all they want. Wallahi, there are some Muslim children that are like that. If we have children like that, may Allah keep them like that. But you don't understand. You don't understand that it is a system that is built against humanity. And it is a system that is contrary 100% to Islam. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, radiyallahu anhu, he said, الغناء ينبت النفاق في القلب كما ينبت الماء العشب. He said that singing, just singing, plants hypocrisy in the heart. Nifaq, hypocrisy in the heart. Just like water causes vegetation to grow. Why? Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, because the singers, they were calling to and encouraging everything that Allah has forbidden. Of al-fahisha wal-dhulm wal-qital, of fighting and fornication and adultery, and today homosexuality. And I've been Muslim for about 14 years. And when I became Muslim, before I was Muslim, the people in rap music weren't as gay as they are today. Now you have these people that are out here, a majority of these musicians are just screaming there. Everything about their personality is screaming with faggotry. And you wonder why your children want to wear tight jeans and tight shirts. Who's to blame? Because perhaps your children are young today and you think that it can't happen to you. And by Allah, if you have daughters and you're not afraid for your daughters, then you are an idiot. And if we don't recognize the challenges that the children are facing and start to prepare them with the opposite of the love of the dunya, with that thirst for Islam and that thirst for knowledge, as the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man humani la yashba'an." He said there are two hungers, two insatiable thirsts that cannot be quenched. Manhumun fil ilmi la yashba' wa manhumun fil dunya la yashba'. He said a thirst for knowledge of the religion, a thirst for knowledge can never be satisfied. And a thirst for the dunya can never be satisfied. We mentioned the story earlier, reported by Abduh ibn Abdul Rahman, of the young boy that went out into the battle, and he used to recite the Quran in the morning and fast during the day. And he was from the most knowledgeable of the people in the army about the laws of inheritance and the fiqh of the religion. And he saw a young girl and he was attracted to, and he said, and she was in a fortress of the Christians. He said, "How can I be with you?" She said, "That's easy, just become a Christian." That's easy, just become a Christian. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, we mentioned two statements by Ibn Qayyim. He mentioned about al-ikhtilat al-muharram, al-ikhtilat bayn al-jinsayn, that free mixing between the sexes, he said, has been a cause for the destruction of entire nations. This was 500-600 years ago. Rahmatullahi alayhi. What about today? This is at a time when, by Allah, if we looked at how our grandmothers who were Christians, how they used to dress and how modest they used to dress, and how they would dress in dresses that would come down to their ankles. And I remember being a young boy in the church, and if a woman was to wear a dress that showed her legs, that was a aib. It was like, she's a floozy. What's wrong with this woman walking around here dressed like a tramp? And that was just, I'm only 33 years old. What about today and the next generation, what our children are going to face? They may pass laws that people can walk around naked in the next 10, 15 years. You never know if enough people vote for it. Al-ikhtilat bayn al-jinsayn, yani the free mixing between the sexes, just that by itself. The woman, the girls talking to the boys. Hey, it's something harmless. You're courting them. Yeah, right. Marry them and they can talk as much as they want. How many traps has Shaitan set for the youth? This is one statement about al-ikhtilat, how dangerous just the free mixing is. It destroyed whole nations, but you're safe. If you're one of those people, and we don't like to spread munkar, but if you're one of those people that like to talk to sisters on the internet, on Pel Talk, or on MSN Messenger, however, or on Facebook, or on this, or on that, al-ikhtilat, yani this type of free mixing, has destroyed entire nations, but you're safe. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to destroy your marriage. Your children are going to be caught as collateral damage and the fallout of what comes at the end of that. You're safe. Don't worry. That's sarcasm. The second statement of Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said about al-ishq al-muharram, about forbidden love. Forbidden love, how it can compel a person to do any type of evil that you could imagine. Forbidden love, it will cause a woman to forsake her family, cause a woman to forsake her children. It cause a man to forsake his family. It cause a man to forsake his children. It'll cause a person to forget everything that they ever knew about what was right and what was wrong, to the point that that person that they love may become a rival for Allah Rabbil Alameen. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, all throughout his writings, in Ighathatul Ahfan, has a long section about being infatuated with appearances, and how it's directly connected to a shirk. That same type of mentality. And so what we find as a challenge for our youth, it comes from so many angles that we don't even know where to begin. We talked about the school, talked a little bit about the media. Let's talk economics. Do you know that many Western countries, that almost 1/10 or more of their GDP, of their gross domestic product, all the money made in their country every year comes from drugs? You know how big of a number that is? Do you know how big of an industry the drug industry is? Do you know the drug industry is not being run by people selling on street corners? Do you know that everything that you see in the music industry has been set up all the way going back to the 60s to promote a drug culture amongst the youth and the spread of drugs amongst the youth? He mentioned the statement of Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, where he said that singing produces nifaq in the heart. That's a statement of Abdullah bin Mas'ud. It grows nifaq in the heart, just like water grows vegetation, like water grows grass. Because it calls to every munkar. It calls and it scoffs at every khair. Everything that you can imagine of good is looked at to be weakness in that culture. Everything that is destructive, that will break down the bonds of society, is called to in that culture. Let's talk economics some more. Our children, our girls are growing up, and there's nobody for them to marry. What's up with that? Why do we find every community that we go to, city after city after city, girls that are 16, 17, 18 years old, and there's no one for them to marry? And there's no one for them to marry. You say, what's going on with the young brothers? Oh, well, he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. Well, why? We're surrounded really by opportunities. We live in a country that, by Allah, we see our brothers, they come here from every country that you can imagine. Some of them, they come here as refugees with nothing. They come as refugees with nothing, and within years, they're opening up businesses. See, some of our brothers, they sit in the masjid all day. You say, man, Fulan must be on welfare. No, Fulan has 3 businesses that he runs, and he has to be on the phone an hour a day or 2 hours a day to run his business. The opportunities are out here. And to make money, to teach our children to make money. And we have to understand that that is part of our religion. And is a very important part of our religion. As was stated by Abu Darda, he said, min fiqh imri'in Muslim. He said that it is from the fiqh of a Muslim man that he understands how to make his ma'isha. He understands how to make his livelihood, how to take care of his family. And Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he said, alaykum bi'amal al-abatal, al-kasbu min al-halal, wal-infaqu ala al-iyal. He said, I advise you to do the actions of people that are heroic and brave. It is to earn your money from the halal and spend it upon your family. And some of us aren't the best examples of that. Some of us aren't the best examples of that, of earning our money and spending it upon our family and taking care of our responsibilities. And many of us have found ourselves in a situation of dependency on the kuffar. May Allah spare us all from that and protect us all from that. We mentioned in the khutbah the statement of the Salaf. They used to say, Some of the Sahaba, they used to say, Allahumma la taj'ali sahibi li mushrikin indi yadan fayuhibbuhu qalbi. Oh Allah, do not allow the mushrik, the person of shirk, the person of disbelief, to have the opportunity to financially help me. Lest that my heart should love him. Lest that my heart should love him. I heard one of the mashayikh saying that he was afraid for the Muslims in the West who are taking assistance from the government, that it will cause them to love the kuffar in a way that is kufr. That it will cause them to love the kuffar in a way that is kufr. There's so many aspects you could talk about on this topic, and it's really enormous. And that's why the brothers, they asked me to talk about it. Since I got here, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start, and it's something that's dead serious. People are losing their children. People are losing their girls. Children from Muslim families are going to prison. And it's something that's an enormous topic. And I guess the best thing that we can do is just say, Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulub, thabit qulubana ala dinik. Oh Allah, the controller of hearts, keep our hearts firm upon your religion. But they have to have that thirst. As we said, they have to have the thirst. We have to ingrain within them a thirst for knowledge of the religion.